Hi guys, welcome back. In the last lesson we looked at what kind of graphs you would see in your IELTS question, and today we're now going to look at some examples of the questions themselves. Okay, so the questions that you will see when you open your examination paper. So, first of all, we are going to look at what this IELTS question looks like. Okay, exactly what you will see when you open your test papers. I'm going to give you some tips and some points and talk about the structure of how you think about answering the question. Okay, what you do first, what you do second, what you do next. Okay, these strategies will help you to decide how to go through the question so that you don't waste any time and that you can answer the question quickly but confidently. Then we're going to analyse the actual text of the question. We're going to look at the words and the phrases that IELTS examiners use to construct their questions and look at how that might be useful to you. And after we've done that, we will look at how these structures can change from one question to another. Okay, basically you will be able to analyse the structure of these sentences, and that will help you when you come to write your introductions. And then finally, the last part of the IELTS question is the actual instruction, what you have to do, and we'll have a little think about what that means. Okay, so what does the IELTS question actually look like? What does the text of the question look like? Here is an example of an IELTS question. Okay, you can see that this text is in 4 sentences. At the top it tells you how many minutes that you should spend on it, so a little bit of advice. Obviously, because you've got 2 IELTS questions to answer in the writing module of the test. Then below that you've got the topic sentence. Okay, this topic sentence tells you what the diagram or the graph is about. And then below that you can see you have the instruction sentence, so basically what you have to do. In this case it's write a report. And then finally it tells you the number of words that you're supposed to write. Okay, in writing task 1 that is 150 words. Immediately below the IELTS question in your exam paper you will see the diagram. Okay, here is a diagram that you might see. Okay, now normally in the IELTS test it's in black and white, but here it is in colour, and that's going to help us when we come to explain the details later on in the course. Okay, so this is an example of a diagram that you'll see. In this case it's a pie chart. Now I want to give you some tips, some strategies on how to actually answer it. So many students always ask me, well, what am I supposed to actually do when I sit down before I put my pen to paper? Okay, there are a number of things that you should think about, and if you think about these in the right way, then it means you're not going to waste any time. You're going to get on with it, and that means you will be able to do the test in the 20 minutes that's been given to you. So, this is my advice. First of all, it seems very obvious to say this, but you must read the question very carefully. Okay? Very often, students read the question very quickly. They pick out one main point, but they don't pick out any other main points, and they end up not understanding what the graph is about completely. And so they answer the question in a different way to what's expected. So they almost end up answering a different question, a question that they have not been asked. Okay, so read this very, very carefully and really understand what the question is asking you. Okay, when you're analysing the question, you need to highlight or underline and understand the main points. I say main points because there are always more than one point that you must consider. Okay, so you must understand what's being asked of you before you start. Very, very important indeed. Then you do the same thing for the diagram. You look at the diagram and you try to understand the diagram. Okay,